video is lagging, try to log out once and then join the session again. There might be some internet issue or glitch from your end, because of which you're not able to hear or see the screen. Yeah, with that, we can start again.
Okay, thanks, Ray. So hey, my name is Gyan Singh. You can call me Gyan. You see both kind of names which I use personally. I'm cloud consultant in Google Cloud. Been here for close to 2.5 years. Before that, I have worked with TCS. That was in fact my first company, which I started back in 2008. For me, for some of I might feel like, hey, I'm pretty old now. I don't know, maybe some of you were like in primary schools at that point of time, but I did start in 8, worked there for a few years, moved to a company called Teradata. It was a pretty good company in terms of data warehousing. It still is. Of course, there are a bunch of other players in data warehousing world now. And then worked there for a few years and then moved to a company called Morgan Stanley. It's an investment bank. Worked there as a data warehouse engineer. And that's where I got into cloud, right? And then that led to actually getting an offer from Google, where I started on data. I'm still working on data side, but at the same time, I do a bunch of work on Gen AI as well. Sometimes standalone Gen AI, sometimes Gen AI, which is related to the data side. I just want to take 30 seconds and want to narrate my own story, how I transitioned to the cloud. And the reason I'm going to narrate this story, because you all are here coming and listening to me, probably either trying to get how you can use Gen AI for your own individual benefit, great. But the folks who are doing something, or you are coming out of college, or you are already working, but want to switch your career into generative AI world, right? This story will resonate with you, and maybe you can take some bits and pieces from it. So while I was working with Morgan Stanley, I was data warehouse engineer or data engineer, you can say nowadays. Um, Really, there was no cloud adoption. But as a company, Morgan Stanley has decided that we will start doing some of the cloud adoption because that's where majority of industries are moving forward, and we really need to reap that benefit. So while my project or my area didn't have any cloud requirement and adoption, I still started learning about it. I started doing some presentations within team that, okay, what it is, things like Snowflake, how it's related to Teradata and how it's different and what kind of the benefits we can get out of it. We started doing all these things, right? To do a quick POC that whether or not certain cloud capabilities are useful for me, useful for this team, they asked me to lead that part. So I got a little bit more insight on that. At the same time, I figured out that, okay, who all in the company are working in this area, what kind of certifications they are achieving. And I started collaborating with them, learning from them, and achieved few of the certifications in cloud area, even though I was not working actively. And then I started looking into other areas where I could get free certification vouchers, and I started using that. And that's when I got interviewed with Google. And when they interviewed me, of course, they didn't expect me to be a expert in cloud, but definitely they needed someone who is expert on data, but have some knowledge on cloud or can really ramp up on the cloud side, right? And that's where my profile really got fit, and I was selected because I had a good understanding of data warehousing with a proper some basic knowledge on the cloud. Basically, I was able to show that hey, I know the basics, I know the things, and I can very well learn if I need to deliver, right? And that was a transition to the cloud. So the takeaway here is that if you want to make similar transition, don't wait that you're gonna get actual work on GenAI. Rather, start learning, start contributing if you're working. If you're not working, then start learning and showcasing your work to the world, and that will materialize into something. Okay, so enough about me. Let's just start, right? Um, so you see this picture? This was me back a couple of years back. Anytime somebody asked me to write a big email or would ask me to maybe start working on a document, which is could be requirement document, could be technical design document, but anytime I have no reference and maybe I need to start from scratch, I would be this person. Pretty scared. I don't have any idea where to start with. How do I structure my thoughts? Maybe I know the content, I can write about it, but how do I really structure it properly? How do I formalize that whole content which I'm writing, I had no clue, and usually was pretty bad at it, right? Then when I really started looking into these GenAI tools, so while I'm also working on solutioning part, there are a bunch of productivity tools which came because of GenAI, and I'm going to talk about some of the GenAI productivity tools which you can use, right? What it allowed me to do, so let's say if I'm writing an email, I can write a pretty raw content which has all the details, but probably it's not a well formatted. And then I can simply on the click, I can ask Gmail to go ahead and start maybe formalize it. And I'll get a pretty structured and nice email written, and then I can just send it, right? So that's one of the game. Maybe I need to put together a document. I really don't need to start from the scratch. I can ask Google Doc, hey, maybe can you create a structure for me because my requirement is this. And then once I have a structure in place, I just need to fill in those details. So GenAI adoption on personal side definitely moved my state from the previous one to this one. So can you give me some thumbs up if you feel you can relate to me that yes, GenAI tools really make your life easy and increase your productivity? I'm sure you must have tried one or two tools for now. And if not, then the goal of this session is to make sure that I can tell you enough about it so that you can go back and start using it both in your professional life as well as your personal life. Can I get some thumbs up reactions? Cool. Perfect. So what we are going to learn today. So there are 4 things which I'm going to talk about today. So folks, just to let you know, when I say thumbs up, there is a reaction. Hand raise is a separate reaction. You don't need to use that. Basically, it's meant for asking questions. But here we're gonna take questions either on the chat or on the Q&A tool. Okay, so
Hi, Gyan. One more thing, very quickly. I just want to say, sorry to drop in between. Can you
no,
switch off the annotation? Can you switch off the annotation which you have on your screen? I can see there's one person annotating on the screen.
okay. Let me do that. First of all, there are a bunch of folks waiting in a meeting room.
Yep. They've been admitted.
So
They've been admitted.
okay, annotate. So I can only control that whether or not I annotate. I can't really control
No, you
whether
can
other.
control for everyone. You're the admin. You just make no annotate no one.
Okay, let me try that.
Yep. Cool. Thank you.
No worries. But in meantime, please don't do that. Okay. Probably I'll continue. So I think I'm not able to find that option. But yeah, okay, I can find it. Perfect. I hope now people should not be able to annotate. And again, the intention is not to stop you, but given that we have a strength of 575 right now, if you do all these things, it's going to be distracting for others. So the 4 things which you're going to learn today, one is generative AI itself, what it is. I'm going to dig deep. I'm not going to go too much into details because we have all kind of folks here. But mainly I'm going to talk about why it is important. The second thing, one of the types of generative AI is LLMs. So I'm quickly going to talk about what LLMs are, some of the capabilities they have, how they work, and how you can use them, right, for your own purpose. And then I'm going to talk about one case study, but properly in detail. And the idea of this case study for me to show to you that, hey, this is how you use GenAI to build solutions. And I want you to get inspired where you can start building the solutions using the knowledge which you're gaining here and the knowledge which you gain after this. Of course, you're not going to learn each and everything about GenAI here in 1 hour, but goal of my presentation or my session is not to give you all the knowledge, rather inspire you so that you can go ahead and start your learning. And fourth, I'm going to talk about how do you become GenAI developer. So I'm going to tell you a few of the ways you can start learning and few of the ways you can turn your learning into something substantial where you can really showcase your abilities, which will eventually lead in the path of becoming a GenAI developer. So I want to have a quick poll here. Folks who are joining here, and if you want to learn GenAI, and I'm sure that's where you are here, 583 folks are here. Can you quickly do a quick poll why you want to learn GenAI? Shrey, can you enable the poll, please?
Yes, it is done. Meanwhile, people are giving poll. Can you just delete the, or you can just reshare your screen? That will
Sure.
be helpful. So this will go out.
Okay, so I'm getting a lot of responses, around 400. That's good. So I can start talking about the themes we have right now. So I think almost there is a consensus that, hey, pretty good distribution. So 23% folks says that they want to have higher CTC, which is good. I mean, eventually anything which you learn or do has to translate in getting some kind of reward. In some cases, it could be money directly. In some cases, it could be a better job or a promotion or something like that, right? And almost same percentage, 21% folks says that they want exciting roles. And of course, GenAI could offer you exciting roles. 17% folks says that making an impact, and 40% folks says that increasing my productivity. So I'm really glad to see these results, because while I'm going to talk about something from a developer point of view, where first 3 points relates, IRCTC, exciting roles, and making an impact, at the same time, this poll tells me that it's very important for me to talk about things which will increase your productivity in your personal life, because folks might be from non-technical development background as well, folks who are doing some other kind of professional work, right? And I will talk about that. So the first thing I'm going to talk about, generative AI. Now, the folks who are in the professional technical side of it, right? There is a quick number I just wanted to throw, that there are going to be lot and lot of Gen AI or AI related job. But I'm also going to bust some myth towards later that, hey, is it just that if you learn Gen AI, is it going to generate all these kind of numbers or jobs? Probably no. And that's where my case study is going to talk about what exactly you need to know along with GenAI to ensure that you are ready for this new boom. Remember, there was a boom of data analysts at some point of time, I think 2018, 2019. And then there was a data engineering boom. And right now it's all GenAI, right? But the idea is that GenAI alone is not going to give you what you want. Probably you'll have to have some other things. And I'm going to talk about that. So first thing, you might be hearing a lot of word AI, Gen AI, and ML. So first, I'm going to describe these things, and then I will tell you how these are related. Sometimes this could be pretty confusing. What is really an AI? What is Gen AI? What is machine learning, right? So AI in nutshell is nothing but a discipline that says that the developments of computer systems, which can act or reason or learn or perform some task as humans do. So that's the area which AI deals with. And then ML is simply a subset of that. And Gen AI even a subset of ML. So how these things relate to each other, right? If you look at this diagram, that depicts the whole relationship. So AI is a bigger umbrella. It's a discipline. So you can take a example of, let's say, chemistry. So chemistry is a discipline of science, right? So it's a proper methods and theory which we talk about. Now, of course, chemistry has a lot of its own applications. Similarly, AI has its own applications, and one of the type of AI is machine learning. So what is machine learning? In the machine learning context, we basically train computers or systems, to be being general here, right? We train systems to perform certain tasks or make predictions without telling them exactly what to do. So in a traditional programming, you will code rules saying that, okay, if this is this, do this, or do this, or do this, right? In machine learning, we don't want to give them a hard rules. Rather, we say, hey, this is the data, learn and figure out, and then perform the tasks. And what are the type of machine learning we see mostly? So one is the supervised learning, right? What happens in supervised learning? We give machines bunch of data and we label it. So there are labels available, and then that system or machine or computer will learn from this data and then really start making predictions. What is the example of it, right? Let's say you give machine learning that people are coming to this restaurant, and what time they come, what kind of food they have, and then this is the tip they give. You can give this data to machine, and maybe in future it can predict that person X who is having food right now in your restaurant, most probably how much tip that person is going to leave, right? And it will make an assumption or prediction based on the historical data which you have provided. But you have not provided any rules to this machine. In our unsupervised learning, we give data or examples to the system, but it's not labeled. Rather, we just give the data, and then system can create groups and or can identify the patterns. So let's say you give system bunch of photos which has dogs and cats. System will try to group all the dog photos in one group and cats photos in one group. So that's unsupervised learning. The third kind of machine learning models are reinforced, where machine predicts a outcome, and then that outcome is then evaluated either by system or by human, that whether that outcome is good or bad. So if that outcome is good, you give a positive reward to the system. If that outcome is bad, you give a negative reward to the system. And slowly and steadily, machine starts recognizing that how it should behave or what kind of output it should generate. So that's how this machine learns. Very similar to the way we even train some of the pets and other things, right? And one type of machine learning is deep learning. So what happens in deep learning? So in deep learning, basically we use artificial neural network, which is inspired by our human brain, which has neurons, right? So similarly, we use neurons in the deep learning. I'm not going in detail here, but basically we use ANN or artificial neural networks to train some of the machine learning models. And using these ANNs, now systems can really learn very complex kind of patterns, where it can either that pattern could be based on the numerical data, or maybe it's images or something else. The one part of the deep learning is actually generative AI. In fact, there are two facades to it. One is discriminative AI and one is generative AI. A discriminative AI is all about classifying things, that, okay, what is what? And generative AI, when you are generating something, so it uses some of the deep learning's capability to generate new things. And anytime we say generative AI, it's not doing a classical machine learning thing, rather it's generating something. Now, generating something could be text, could be images, could be video. And right now you might be seeing we are generating all kind of outputs using generative AI. And that's where this name comes from. So there are two types of generative AI models. One is transformer-based model. Anybody who really wants to follow the research papers, etc. There was a research paper published in 2017 by some of the Google engineers. It's called "Attention is All You Need," which was the basis of the transformer models. And from there has been a plethora of models coming into the market, like ChatGPT, Bard, which is now Gemini. So basically, transformer-based models are used when you want to do certain tasks with text. It can generate text, it can translate your text, it can generate code and other things. So I'm going to give you all the kind of use cases which you can do with this. Other kind of generative models are diffusion models. In diffusion models, basically, using diffusion models, you can generate images or you can generate audio or video. So what happens in diffusion models, basically, there is an image given to the system, and then there is some noise added. Basically, you can say that image, we make it a little bit pixelated, and then we ask system to regenerate the original image. And in the process of regenerating that original image, system learns how to generate that image. And how do we generate back the image? We also add a prompt saying that, okay, this is the type of image we want. And that's how system learns that how it can generate an image from nothing or purely pixelated data, and it can generate the image out of it, right? So those are the diffusion models, and the primary uses of diffusion models are in image generation, audio generation, and video generation. So irrespective of what domain you are working on, these are some of the applications. So using the text kind of generative AI capabilities, we can either generate content, which could be useful in the marketing. We can generate emails, which could be useful in sales, and chat, etc. could be in support. So Sri, maybe we can enable chat for some time. And I want people to really type if you have used generative AI capabilities for one of these applications. either you are a marketer or salesperson or simply a developer and you have used generative AI capabilities to do the code generation or code documentation. I have done almost 30 to 40% of these tasks in some shape or form. I would really want to see what other folks are doing or what you are doing with these kind of capabilities. So I'll pause for 10-15 seconds. I really want to think through where and how you would have used one of these applications and type. And folks, we will have Q&A later on. You can type some questions and we will track it. So we can enable the Q&A as well, and then I will track the questions here. Perfect. So I see bunch of examples, and these examples are great. That means a lot of you are actually playing with it. I think majority of folks are saying content generation. I think that's the easiest or the first one. To, you know, when we talked about transform model or when ChatGPT came in or the Bard came in, we really started using it text generation. But now things are moving to directions like people are using it to generate PPTs, etc. So one question I can say that does one need to be from the tech software background for all this? No. So that's what I talked about there. Generative AI is applicable to the folks who are in tech side because you will be creating solutions. You'll be building solutions to the problem. But at the same time, as someone who is not in the tech side, you also need to know the GenAI applications because you can increase your productivity. You can use some of the tooling. So let's say, for example, let's say you are social media content creator. Maybe you are creating for your own self or you are managing somebody's profile. You might be managing tens of different platforms, YouTube, Instagram, LinkedIn, whatnot, right? And now you you put an image, you write a text. If you want to generate the same marketing material or same message for these different platforms, you'll have to create those many copies because each platform works differently. Somewhere you have a limit of certain characters, somewhere you don't. Somewhere you need a small image, somewhere you'll have to have a bigger image. In some cases, you need a portrait kind of image. In some cases, you need horizontal image, right? Or landscape image. Using GenAI tools, there are a bunch of tools in the market. You just write your message once, put one image, and it will generate for all kind of platforms directly, right? So you don't need to repeat things or you need to spend too much time on that. You only need to spend time on original message or original promotional material which you want to write and the image which you want to use. Rest it will generate for the remaining platform automatically. So that's how you can use it, right? And there's a question, I don't get what are the models? Yes, I will explain what are the models and what is the platform and how these models really are used in some of these tools which we use. Okay, so to move forward to the second part of this, how LLM works, right? So we talked about GenAI and one part of the generative AI is the LLM. So what are the LLMs? LLMs are large language models, refers to the large general purpose language models that can be pre-trained and then fine-tuned for a specific purpose. So I will talk about what does large and general purpose means here, but I'll talk about what is the pre-trained and fine-tuned specifically, right? So focus on the words which I have highlighted here. First, I'm saying that pre-trained and then fine-tuned. So let's take example. We usually train dogs, right? I'm sure some of you must be having dogs as pet, right? You train them that, hey, I give you a command and you perform some action, right? So you'll say sit, and then probably dog will do that, and you'll say, okay, let's go. So dog knows that, okay, now you're gonna go for a walk, and dog will walk. That's like general training for almost all the dogs, right? But then you also put a fine tuning on top of that. Maybe you are using dog as a service animal because you need assistance. So then there is a separate training for that. And you really need to train your dog for that. Maybe that dog is going to be trained for sniffing explosive materials. Then that dog needs to be trained for that purpose. But before that, it'd be going through the general training, right? So that's the difference between pre-trained and fine-tuned. So generally, all the large language models are first trained for general purpose, and then based on the outcomes we want, it will be further fine-tuned on a specific set of data. Now, what is the large and general purpose? So large here refers to the 2 points. One is that all these large language models are trained on really large training data sets. So that companies which are making these large language models have petabytes of data, all kinds of data, right? And they are using that training data set. And it's not easy for anyone to generate that kind of training data set. Second, they are using large number of parameters. Anybody who is coming from machine learning background would know what are the parameters. But in general, just think about there are several, billions of parameters where we will fine tune or we'll tell this model to perform that this is how you learn. So typical machine learning model, these parameters could be in tens and hundreds, but for large language models, it's in billions, right? So that's the difference. What is the general purpose? It has a commonality of human languages. In other tools or the models, you will see that majority it's very computer science specific domain and does not relate to the human language. But the large language models are really trained on the language which we speak, and majority on English, but also they are trained on bunch of other non-English languages as well. And that's where you can even use large language models to perform things like translation, because they understand the English and they also understand some of the even less known languages. And the second is the resource restriction. There is a lot of resources required, so not everybody can really go and create this kind of model. And what capabilities these models have? First of all, they can do the text classification. Let's say you pass on review and say, hey, can you give me whether this review is really positive or negative or kind of midway? That kind of text classification you can do. Or you can do question answering. In the chat applications, you can ask question that I want to learn about this, and the large language model will give you a response to that. Document summarization. Maybe you have a big document and you want to generate a summary. So I'm going to talk about a really cool tool which Google have provided where you can use these kind of capabilities like document summarization as well as text generation. So these are the main capabilities of any large language models. So how really these large language model works, right? So let's say when you are typing this line, or there is a line says, when I hear rain on my roof, and there's a blank in my kitchen. So large language model will find out all the possible words, and then it will figure out the probability of those words. So it could be cook soup, it could be warm up a kettle, but from the probability point, be cook soup is close to 10% and warm up a kettle is 5%, and then there are a bunch of other words. How it found out the probability? It has gone through the large corpus of data which it got trained on. So this probability comes from how many times it has seen that when there is a statement like when I hear rain on my roof, what comes next? So highest probability it has seen the cook soup. There are fair chances that your response would select this. Has anybody seen this? When you type on the Google, it predicts some of the next words. That's exactly large language model is doing. That only difference is that when you're typing on the search box, it only predicts the next word for you or maybe next set of word. But in large language model, it could be set of words, it could be entire line, or it could be in fact entire paragraph. And that's how large language models generate that text. And that's where you might have heard the word hallucination. So I'll talk about why hallucination happen and how it relates to this thing. So just keep this thing in mind, that how it generates text, right? So how many of you want to be a prompt engineer? Can you quickly type or just raise you, give me a thumbs up. How many of you are really looking to be a prompt engineer? Just type yes or anything on the type. Okay. Okay, can we enable the chat, please? Nice. So I think bunch of. I'm sorry to say, there is no such thing called prompt engineering. Okay, literally there is no such thing. So if you were thinking or you were trying to become a prompt engineer, please relook at what you really wanted to do. Okay, prompt engineer is a very small task, and you will use it in a bigger context. So what is prompt engineering? Basically, I talked about that, hey, you're going to have a bunch of these large language model, Gemini being one. Prompt engineering simply is the art of asking the right question. So how do you create your prompt, or how do you really create your question so that you get a right answer or most useful answer? Some of the ways you can do the prompt engineering, I'm not going to go deep in what prompt engineering is. I just wanted to put this slide here so that I can bust another myth here that there is something called prompt engineering as a field. That's not, right? So you can have a zero sort. So basically, zero sort prompt engineering means that you ask a question to the LLM and it gives you the answer. In one sort, you give an example and then you ask the question. So while LLM has a lot of knowledge, it also learns from the example which you have given at that point of time. Okay. Then there are few and multi-sort. In this one, not only you give, you give more than one. So few or multi-sort is could be two to many. So you are giving more than one example on the fly while you are giving the prompt, and it also knows a bunch of other things. So this simply works in the sense that, let's say if you ask, hey, what is the capital of India? Large language model might give you a detailed answer that Delhi is capital, blah, 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 right? But if you just give an example, India, Delhi, and then ask what is capital of China, it will simply give you just one word. Because now it knows that it learned from example that when you pass a country, you are only looking for the one word. So that's how one sort or few sort really works. So you can fine tune the output on the runtime or the ask time, right? The things which you should do in the prompt engineering, that first of all, clearly communicate, be very, very concise, specific, to the point, structure your prompt that what you want. Tell it that, hey, I want this thing, I want in this format, and also put some constraint that, okay, don't give me random answer. If you don't know this, if you are not aware of this, do not give me the answer. Otherwise, usually these large language models will try to make up something if they don't have knowledge about the questions you are asking. Somebody asked that, okay, what are the models? So models are which powers some of the capabilities, and these models are really evolving every day. You keep on hearing that, okay, OpenAI has released this model, which is better than this. Now Google has released this model, which is better than that. And at any given point of time, companies would be releasing bunch of models for different purposes. So they evolve over time. They have different capabilities, and not every model is good for each and everything. There are specific scenarios. For example, Google has also quite big large models, but they also release some of the smaller models. In fact, so small that they can fit these models in your device itself. So Pixel 9, etc., comes with inbuilt models where AI is inbuilt in the phone itself. So you don't need internet connection to interact with some of these LLMs. What are the platforms? Platform gives you each and everything to work with these models. So think of, anybody coming from development side, right? Think it as a IDE plus some of other related stuff where you can use these models there, you can build, deploy, monitor them, and do a bunch of other things, right? So when you are learning these things, the reason I wanted to discriminate or differentiate between these two things, don't get hung up too much on the models only. Also see which platform you should pick up and start using it. That's also very, very important. The other difference I wanted to call out, consumer versus enterprise. Majority of these companies will offer both facades. Consumer versions are usually easy to start with. Maybe you just sign up and start using it. Let's say ChatGPT. They are intended for end users. So anybody who is trying to increase their productivity or wants to use it for personal purpose, you're going to use the consumer facing one. But if you are a developer and building a system for some company, you are going to interact with enterprise models. So make sure that you understand when you are interacting with whom, so that you don't leak the data and don't fall into all kind of scenarios. One line I have written like the fourth point in both sides. In the consumer models, data privacy is not that great. In majority of cases, your data would be sent to the company for further training. But in enterprise models, it won't be. So never ever use that company's data in consumer facing models, because then you might be leaking some confidential data to these models, okay? So just be cautious which one you are using. But if you're not a developer, of course, you're only gonna interact with consumer models, okay? So Some of the things I can tell you that how do you make GenAI work for you? If you're a content creator, look for the tools which can give you content, can create images, or they can beautify your content and images. Um, there are tools like Frontly.com. So if you have an image, you can simply generate HTML and CSS for that, right? So if you're a technologist, it's pretty good use for you. You don't need to bootstrap and write everything from the scratch. It's going to generate a nice looking HTML and CSS. Of course, you'll have to edit it and make it better, but at least you'll not have to start from scratch. There are tools like Chroma.co. If somebody is really working on the design side and use a lot of colors, this is a perfect tool for you. So I'm not putting these tools right now here. Two reasons, because these tools are really evolving. Every day you will have 10 new tools coming in the market, right? So figure out the tools which you need, do a quick search and you'll find the right tools, and then analyze which tools really work for you. Some of them are free, some of them have paid memberships. According to your use, do pick up. And I think even now, previous tools which didn't have any AI capability have these AI capabilities now. For example, I'm using Canva to present this presentation, right? Now Canva has AI capabilities to generate text, generate images. So while I'm working on the Canva, I don't need to go to any other tool to generate the text and images. I can do it right there on this tool itself. So I would say, irrespective what your work is, irrespective what your persona is, try to find the tools which might make your life easier. One tool I really want to call out, and you should definitely check out, irrespective what your persona is the Notebook LM. This tool is provided by Google. Basically, if you are a student or researcher or content creator, any kind of person, right? You can take bunch of PDFs, bunch of websites, etc., and then give it to Notebook LM and start asking questions. So now you're not asking these questions on the random set of data. You are asking these questions on a very specific set of data which you have provided. In fact, the cool use I have seen of the Notebook LM is where people take these large text PDFs or websites, either they have created or they got it from the internet. They give it to the Notebook LM. They ask Notebook to generate summary of it, and then ask it to generate the podcast out of it. And it generates really nice podcast with really real looking podcast, right? So if you are someone who prefer to listen to content rather than read it, this is one good tool. I would definitely highly recommend all of you to go and check it out. Google is adding more functionality every time they release on Notebook LM. So check it out. Okay, so I'm quickly going to jump to the case study now. We are left with 15 minutes. So look at this image. And meantime, can you just give a quick thought whether you're liking this session or not, or you're thinking, hey, why the hell I'm here spending my 1 hour? Either give me a thumbs up or type in the chat. I'll try to read whatever I can. So let's look at this image. Please share again. Okay, so don't worry about the tools, right? I hope you will start following me on the LinkedIn. And what I will do, I'll start posting some of these details in terms of how do you learn things, what are some of the tools which you can use. The reason I will do that because I want to first vet some of the things. I want to make sure that I fully understand what capabilities they have, and plus they are genuine tools. And then I will post it on the LinkedIn, right? Because I don't want to suggest any tool randomly which might not be useful. Plus, it might be maybe taking too much data from your side. Because I'm personally very, very thoughtful how much data I'm sharing with any tool. So I don't want to use any tool which is just asking for too much data. Okay, so I will probably start curating some of these tools and start posting. So let's look at this image. What we are giving here, we are giving this sari pattern. Basically, this tool is basically used by Miso, right? I hope majority of you might be using Miso to top. So one thing the folks or the sellers who are selling these saris can do now, they have a tool available within Miso where they can just give the pictures of these saris, and then they can generate the result kind of image. So they really don't need to have their own models wearing saris, and then they don't need to click these pictures, etc. Rather, they just need to click pictures of the saris, 2-3 pictures, and then using that they can generate the right side results. But you might be thinking, hey, this is all happening using GenAI, right? You just give the picture, you give the model with the white sari, and then you get the final result. That's not the case. And that's what I want to call out. While these things are done by GenAI, there are a lot many steps involved in that. So these are the typical steps which are involved in generating this kind of image. First of all, you need to gather requirement. What exactly is your requirement, right? Here, the requirement was that I want to generate bunch of images of models wearing that sari. And of course, you can't ask models to wear those many saris. Otherwise, it's going to be very, very costly affair for you in terms of having those many models and having those many photographers and the background setting. So what GenAI is doing here, first of all, it does the sari reconstruction. But this is not the GenAI part here, right? So how do you construct saris? Because there could be, let's say, image of pallu and then some main part and maybe a blouse area, right? Using those 2, 3 images, it will construct how this sari really looks like in a rectangular format. And then you start labeling. So what part is what? That's where you label the whole sari. And then you do TPS warping. So what is the TPS warping here? When somebody wear any cloth, right, it's not rectangular or square in shape, right? It's a flowy, right? For example, I'm wearing t-shirt, there are curved, but when I'm putting this image, it's not going to be in that shape, correct? So TPS warping actually take that rectangular image and try to create that kind of patterns which are flows or curves. Somewhere it's going to shrink. Then it does pleat enhancements. So what is the pleat enhancements? I mean, if you know a little bit of sari, you would know what are the pleats. But even if you don't know, let's say I'm wearing this t-shirt and you can see these wrinkles here. So if there is a pattern or image, that image is gonna get fold here. Probably part of the image will get hidden. So in the pleat management, you take the design and you try to wrap it around so that it doesn't look like it's a single image. Rather, whatever parts is going behind that would be hidden. So that is done in the pleat enhancement. And then light masking is all about taking that now image, which is already converted in with the TPS warping, etc., and put it on the white sari, and you generate that image. And then there are 2 more steps in that. One is the background enhancements. So let me go back to this particular image here. The background which you see is GenAI generated. This was not an actual photo clicked. Most probably when the photo was clicked in white sari, there was just a green or gray background. The background which you see here is purely generated from GenAI. Second thing, the image which might get generated might not be that big or clearer. So you can again use GenAI to further enhance the resolution of that image. So these 2 things are done using GenAI. So you can see that here we do a couple of steps with GenAI, and majority of these steps are done with traditional tools which engineering provide. The reason I wanted to talk about this case study, that when you go back and you start building something, don't focus that, hey, this is the problem and how do I solve it with GenAI? Don't think like that. Rather think about, hey, this is the problem. What are the steps I need to perform to solve that problem? And once you have come up with those steps, see which all steps you can do with GenAI, what all steps you can use some ready-made library somewhere and then perform those steps. It's going to be combination of everything, not purely GenAI. GenAI is going to do some part of it, right? And also while you are performing other steps, GenAI can be used, maybe you're not sure what library to use, right? So you can ask GenAI that, hey, I need this requirement, what code I can use, right? Maybe it will give you a code. So while GenAI is going to help you to build your solution, it itself not a solution. That's the thing I wanted to call out here. Very, very important for all the developers out here, okay? So let's move to 4th section. How do you get it started? Irrespective, I mean, whether you are a developer or not. So first of all, learn. This session, I talked about a bunch of things, but of course not gonna give even 1% of entire GenAI knowledge that what it is, right? The idea was to inspire you, give a glimpse of it, and then tell you how to get started. So there are a bunch of free courses right now. We are living in an era where companies like Google or Microsoft or AWS or IBM really put a lot of learning material, very, very good learning material. I mean, that's the best learning material you can get for free. You don't need to pay to anybody to learn all these things, right? These companies are already providing you curated, free, top-notch material, and which is constantly even updated. So it's not that you are learning the old content, because GenAI is really evolving pretty fast. There are a lot of blogs these companies put forward. Also, the technologists or the experts who are working on these fields, they keep on writing Medium blogs, general blogs, right? So watch out for that. And there are a bunch of videos by these field experts. So you can follow some of the professors from renowned universities, or you can follow some of the technologists from big companies, or some of the other teachers who generate these kind of videos. Follow that. They all are available for free, most probably on YouTube. Majority of them are on YouTube, right? And then there are some of the courses from universities where you can see those courses for free. For example, Harvard provide a bunch of the courses for free. Of course, you're not going to get any course completion certificate, but if you need knowledge, it's all there. You just need to spend your time. Okay, one part is learn. You learned it. What do you do now? You practice. Because if you just keep on learning, it's not going to give you any significant benefit. Whatever you learn, you practice. And thankfully, there are several ways you can put that learning to the knowledge. For example, whether you want to use ChatGPT, OpenAI systems, or whether you want to use Google's AI systems, all of them provide you the API keys, free API keys, meaning you can use these models to build whatever solutions you want to build. Of course, there are restrictions that how many API calls you can make, how much uses you can, etc. But they give you fair amount of uses where you can build a hobby project. So grab these API keys, right? And then use platforms provided by some companies, right? For example, Google provide Google AI Studio. It's enterprise grade system provided for free, where you can build things and you can directly call these models like Gemini 1.5, Gemini 1.5 Plus, etc. So they are giving you free access to these models, as well as they are giving free access to this tool. And then you can check other productivity tools, right? Using these, try to build a solution. Once you have built a solution, maybe share it on LinkedIn or any other platform which you might be using. Share your solutions. Most probably people are going to give you feedback, and this is going to be a good addition to your resume. And that's how you start your GenAI development journey or developer journey. But let's say if you're not a developer, then what do you do? Whatever you're learning, maybe you're somebody who create a lot of presentations. Figure out what are the tools available in the market, maybe free or paid, and figure out some of the nifty things which you can do with generative AI, and maybe share your learning on LinkedIn that, hey, you know what, using this tool, I was able to build a deck like this. Or maybe you are a data analyst. For example, recently I started using GenAI on the Google Sheets. So Google Sheets is the equivalent of Microsoft Excel. Now I don't ever write formulas in Google Sheets. I will simply say, ask GenAI to say, hey, write a formula for me. So I'll describe that this is what I want to achieve, and it will write a formula for me. So maybe you are somebody who is data analyst, right? Whatever tools, data analysis tools you are using, start using GenAI to ease your work. And once you find out some nifty ideas, once you find out some useful ideas, maybe share it with others. And then, and that's how you even learn, then disseminate your knowledge, and also kind of that gives you confidence to learn more. So irrespective whether you're a developer or not, I think everybody can go and start learning things about GenAI, which is related to your field. And I'll just say again one thing: learn, build, and then share, and do the repeat. So thank you. It's 7:54. We have 6 minutes. I think I can take few questions, and also watch out on my LinkedIn profile. I will start posting some of the, first of all, learning materials, so that you can directly get started if you're not able to find some of the contents, right? And if you have missed taking a QR code of my profile, I'll go back again here. Second thing, as in when I find a useful tool, I will do that.
Recording
Also,
stopped.
I would request you that if you find a cool tool for some task and you have tried it, please do post it on the LinkedIn and tag me so that others
Recording
who are
in
in my network,
progress.
the folks who are in my circle and your circle would get benefited. And I'm really looking for some of the good solutions which you will build. Please do share it with me. Maybe say it on LinkedIn and tag it me. I will give a shout out, personal shout out for some of the solutions I like. Okay, so I'll take few questions here. Shrey, do we have Q&A board, or are we gonna take questions
We do
on?
have a Q&A board, so we can stop sharing the screen. I can share you the Q&A questions. Folks, I
Perfect.
also wanted to have one very quick thing to you all. Like, state post the Q&A. We have some exciting thing which we have been working on. We want to share that with you all also. So I will share the Q&A question. There are 27 Q&A question which I can see. Gyan, can you see that Q&A questions as well?
Let me open. Yes.
Yeah, you can.
Fine-tune a LLM model. Quick answer, there are ways provided by each kind of platform. So Google has its own way, AWS has its own way. Maybe I can talk about Google LLM model in one of my posts. Of course, I will not be able to answer entire thing here, but it's all there. You can search for LLM fine tuning on Google platform. There is a public document, and that's more than enough. I mean, I'm just gonna read and tell you exactly same thing. What's the roadmap and prerequisites for learning the GenAI? How can we learn this in a clean way? I think the cleanest way would be don't get influenced by any influencer and don't even get influenced by me. The only target of my talk here was to tell you that hey, there are resources available in the public domain. Use it, and they all are available for free, right? So use that. What about math? How much math do we need? None, zero, absolutely zero. Unless you are a researcher who is trying to build a LLM or GenAI models, you don't need any math. If you are just a user, if you are a developer like me who is going to use models to build solutions, I don't need any math. Is coding knowledge required for generative AI? If you are trying to build a career in generative AI, yes, you'll have to have a good amount of programming knowledge. But let's say if you are going for roles like data analyst, you would not need coding knowledge unless you also think SQL is a coding language. How to create LLM from scratch? Hey, there are documents available. You can create, but that's not something you should be creating. That's not our job. Our job is to use these. Let's leave the LLM creation to companies like Google and OpenAI and Microsoft and Meta and a bunch of others. All jobs for AI related field currently requires at least 2-3 years of experience, even for entry level job. That's absolutely not true because we all know that GenAI wasn't even there 2-3 years back, right? But you need to really showcase that you are someone who is ready to learn and have learned bunch of things. And that's the reason I was saying that find a problem, create a solution, publish it on the LinkedIn, put it in your resume. You need to really showcase that you are eager to learn and you can do the job. Nobody's saying that you should have been doing the work. I know some companies would put that in JD. Probably you're better off not joining those companies. I mean, I'm being very blunt here. When I started working with GenAI, nobody asked me that, okay, whether you know, because literally at that point of time, nobody knew GenAI except the researchers, right? Uh, can we start learning GenAI without this? Absolutely, yeah. DSA is not a prerequisite for GenAI. Does this training model in LLM contains all type of data in it? Generally, yes. It has large corpus, so I'll say probably all kind of data. I'm a 10th class student. How is this workshop useful for me? For you, check out the Notebook LM and see how you can use it to create your own notes or extract notes from large documents or PDFs which you might have or the other papers. And this is going to be super useful when you're trying to prepare for your exams. Use it. Don't go anywhere else. Just use a Notebook LM. I think that would be pretty cool for you. Roadmap for GenAI developer for beginner project that should showcase in my skill. I think I answered that, so I'll go to next. Apart from using a RAG model to make sure GenAI models more concise to your problem statement, what are the other methods we can use and also how to use RAG model? I would love to answer that, but little bit advanced. Maybe in future sessions, once we go into the deep GenAI concepts, I'll try to answer this, but I'll skip for now because maybe it will not be useful for majority of the folks. What is the difference between Watson X platform and OpenAI? Which one is better? I would not say which one is better. Nothing is better. It's all contextual. What job you are trying to do, right? So for some cases, Watson X could be better. Some cases could be OpenAI. But if you're working for a company, don't worry about these questions. I think there are decision makers whose pay is way above us, and they should be worried about what platform to use. Our job should be whatever platform is chosen by them to work on that. There is nothing better. How GenAI is going to help someone who is into SEO and digital marketing? I think yes, there are a bunch of tools for that. You should definitely check it out. And content creation is one of the prime use case of generative AI. So definitely check out the tools which can generate content for you, mold content for you. Let's say you have a 10 lines of content, it can prepare the content whether you are putting it in email or LinkedIn or X or Twitter or X or let's say Instagram, etc. Can someone build their own GenAI product for personal use for professional purposes? You can build, but then if you're building it for own personal use, it's not gonna be useful. If you think you can start a small company and build a tool and then sell it, then makes sense. Otherwise, no. Try to use a model which is already created. Why to reinvent the wheel when you can use it, right? And most probably, even you can use it for free. How can GenAI help me as a founder of a AAA game of mine, which no one knows as it is in pre-production? Is two ways. One is that you can use GenAI to, in fact, fasten your development, expedite your development. Second, you can use GenAI to do a lot of marketing for you. You can make I mean, I'm sure you will be doing the marketing, right? But you can make marketing easier with GenAI adoptions. What is this tool name? Is this the Notebook LM? For other tools, I'll start posting. What is the tool name you just mentioned? I mentioned about Notebook LM. Then there were a bunch of like HTML to CSS, etc. I'll post that. But Notebook LM is one you can start using. I'm working on one project for product-based company scrap management, where I want to do something to reduce the scrap. Which approach should I use? I'm not sure, Sakshi, what exactly it is. If you want, you can drop me a message on LinkedIn and bit more detail, and I can answer. I can try answering that. I mean, you'll have to wait for some time before I answer that, but yeah. Please share your LinkedIn profile again. I think I did share. Otherwise, you can search Gyanendra Singh, Google Cloud. Most probably, you should be able to find me. I don't think there is another person with my name in Google Cloud at least. Would you mind sending me a link profile? So, Shrey, maybe it's up to you, but Bhavya, if you want, you can search for me. Those API keys are paid or free for a limited period of time. Generally, each platform will give you API keys for free, of course, with restriction. But for your hobby project or personal project, that's more than enough. I would not pay for all these things unless until I'm really trying to build a company or a startup. Generally, majority of these things are available for free and should be okay. Can we start learning GenAI without DSA? Absolutely, yes. Is coding knowledge required for generative AI? Little bit. But if you are trying to work through productivity enhancements, etc., no. Can we start learning GenAI without DSA? Absolutely no. I love that this question keeps on popping. And trust me, I don't know anything about DSA. I'm a data engineer. I have nothing to do with DSA, and I'm using GenAI. How to add plugins to a tool if you're not allowed to borrow code? I'm assuming that maybe your company policy does not allow it. If it doesn't, don't use it. Why can't we use deep learning? What is CV? Vinas, if you want, we can chat further on the link. Gan, can you tell me where all the major job creation happens in consumer and AI or enterprise and AI? I think it's enterprise for sure. In consumer side, there won't be any job creation because of AI. Rather, you will see people are using Gen AI to increase their productivity, and that's how they are sharpening their skills, and maybe that's how they are generating more revenue. But there will not be a um, separate job creation. Yes, right. So it's 8:04. You wanna stop me, or can I take remaining question? I think there are 10 questions.
I can do that thing. So what we can do is, I'll just let people know what we have been building,
Sure.
and post that if someone who is really excited, interested, they can stick around here for another 5-10 minutes. You can take up few more questions. People can listen and talk about this thing. So we can extend that thing for the people. That's totally up to everyone if they want to stick. So let me just remove you from the spotlight. Folks, I just want to take very quick 2-3 minutes from you all. And as I'm aware of, many of the you are asking, can I get the recording? Can I get the recording? Can I get the PPT? Can I get the every other thing? So what we have been working and building out, Learn Online has been working and building an ecosystem where we really want to empower people to learn new industry skills every time. And what we have done is coming 2-3 months, we have scheduled close to 100 plus live workshop, which is specifically catering to the AI field. So what we have done over here is we have launched a new product. We are working and building and launching a new product, which we are calling it as Learn Online Pro. So let me know if my screen is visible to you. Let me know what all, just give me a quick 1 second. Let me know if my screen is visible to you all. Folks, is my screen visible to you all? Can you quickly tell me in the chat box if my screen is visible? Everyone? Yes, no, maybe everyone? Yep. Great. Thank you. So what we have been doing from past few months, we have been working on building a product which is known as Learn Online Pro. Why are you thinking, why do I need to know and why do I need to buy Learn Online Pro? Let me tell you exactly why you need to buy and why you need to think about getting Learn Online Pro. So what we have done over here is we have scheduled more than 100 200 workshops for next 3 4 months. It is practically impossible for you to come and attend each and every workshop. So what we have done over here is we have created a Learn Online Pro where all the workshops recording are going to be kept. You can come watch any time you want at any pace you want to see that thing. Second thing, all the resources which your mentor is talking about. He's talking about he's going to post on the LinkedIn, he's going to share you on the WhatsApp group, but there's a chances that it got all of the thing might get missed. So what we have done over here is every workshop, whatever is happening, whatever tool the mentor is mentioning, we're keeping that at one place and giving you that tool access. Third thing is we are going to give you the Learn Online community access. So the place where you are in right now, it's not exactly a community, but just imagine a place where like 5,000, 6,000 people who are really interested in building product in AI category are hanging out together, discussing new ideas, talking about new things, working on new things, seeing how to experiment, what to be doing. These all things are going to be happening inside the Learn Online community. We have created a job board as well. You being a founder, you want someone who is working in working in generative AI field, you can actually come down to our community, hire people from there. Third thing is we have created a place where we are getting you close to 2,500 AI tools discount offers. We have partnered with too many companies to bring you the best rate possible. Whatever price you see on the front facing of the product, you will be paying slash 30%, 40% off if you're the part of the Learn Online community. Then what is going to happen is we are going to do all like every month we are going to host one town hall, one branch, one offline meetup, and every other thing to discuss, talk about what is happening inside the Learn Online community. And before I go start and do any other thing, I want to know if something like this comes to you, what will be the price which you think the company will charge you for the full access of everything to give you for 1 year? I really want to know this thing in the chat box. Everyone in the chat box, what do you think the price should be? Like, take a random guess. Anyone, take a random guess. 999, 15K. Oh, interesting. 999. 2000. Interesting. Okay, 5K, 8K. Okay, interesting. So let me just tell you what the exactly the price is. For this particular thing, we are doing pilot. We want to see how many of you really want to have it. We are not pitching you anything. We are not doing anything. What we are going to do is we are going to share a form link with you all. You can fill out that form, show us that interest that you are interested in taking this product. What we will do is we'll take your entry, send you a payment link where you can go and make a payment. The product is just for 999 and you are here on the workshop. So what we'll give you is we'll give you lifetime access of the product. We won't be giving you 1 year, 2 year, 3 year, 4 year access. We'll give you the lifetime access of the product. So I would love to know how many of you are really excited for this thing. Can you just tell me in the chat box and how many of you are really going to go for it? Immediately, you're going to fill out the form and like, yeah, hell yeah, let's go for it. Anyone? Yes, I will. Yes, only one person. Me. 3, 4. Yes. Oh, interesting. So I can expect. So let me tell you another thing over here. Interesting. Okay. No, me. Oh, mixed responses I'm getting. Interesting. Certification in every other thing will not be given to the people who are non-pro users. You will be receiving certificate for completing all the workshop which is happening in the future if you are the pro user of the product. With said this thing, I just have this thing with you all. Post this workshop. I'm going to drop you the link in your chat WhatsApp group on your mail as well. You can fill out the link. We'll share you all the details which is required. You can make the payment, and I would love to see you all inside Learn Online Pro community. Thank you, everyone. So Gyan, you can actually like people. We have now 52 questions. So we can take 1, 2, 3, 4 question more. Another 5 minutes max. We'll close the session at 8:15, 16.
Yeah, probably even I'll have to stop since I need to join other meetings as well. But yeah, let me take a couple of here. Please provide free course link. Hey, you can search for it, but I might post about it, so just watch out for that. When we load LLM and ask anything, its response is not proper. Go to prompt engineering slide or whatever pointers I have given. Use that. Can you suggest some beginner projects? Bunch of it. I mean, it should be quick search. Roadmap for Gen AI. Each company manage its own roadmap, and you can always see what they are releasing. So usually they will have release notes. You can bookmark that and keep on refreshing every week. What is the minimum system requirements? Absolutely none. Most of these things you can use on the browser. Even you can use these on the your mobile as well. You don't need to really have any system for that. Which language is mostly used? Programming language. I don't know, maybe all of them, but Java and Python could be the majority one. Python could be a major one since it's very easy to call these API endpoints in Python. I want to build LLM model. Probably it's a little bit advanced topic, so I'll talk maybe later separately. Any AI tool for data science? Yes. For data scraping, yes, there are a bunch of tools. Please use that. And plus, once you have that data scraped for the Microsoft Excel or Google Sheet or whatever tool you're using, there are a bunch of tools available to do the even data analysis. Say your PPT, I think Shrey will take care of that. Are we getting a certificate? Shrey probably can answer these two questions in the chat. When is the next session? You would hear about it. Learn and online team is going to post about the next session. It will be some time in November, and you will see the details in the topic and dates, etc. Maybe I'll pause here. And if you have any closing remarks, Ray, you can add that, and then I will see everybody in the next session. And thank you so much for joining. If you are still sticking around here, you have been here for 75 minutes. I'm really grateful for your time. I hope you had a good time.
Folks, I just have one more thing. I really want to know how was the session. So I've launched a poll for you all. So you can actually go and reply to that poll and we can see that part. We'll quickly take 1-2 minute max. Interesting. Cool. Thank you, everyone. Meanwhile, thank you, everyone, for coming, joining, staying here for such a long time. It's close to 73 minutes you have been on the call. I hope this was an interesting session. We will bring similar to these sessions coming in future. Stay active in the WhatsApp group, which we have created. I have shared the form link again with you all. You can apply for it. You can get recording and every other thing which is required over there. We'll send that to you post you have filled the form and gone to the pro version. This is something which we have. We have bunch of AI workshop which is lined up next month. So we'll let you know when it is happening, how it's happening, what time it is happening. And I'm looking forward to see you all after this call also for the next call. Thank you everyone for joining. It was really nice having you all. Thank you everyone.
Recording.
Yeah.